Hello, my name is Ron Ratkos, and I am majoring in environmental management and policy with an emphasis in sustainability. Although I'm quite new to using the video format in our class, I'm going to try to do this without having a teleprompter, so bear with me as I read off my notes. I've opted to deal with each of the three questions in the video portion of this post in order, starting with question number 1. What are my impressions of the National Environmental Policy Act? First, let me say that I have had not much experience with this piece of legislation outside of our classes and our previous environmental law class. I am, however, more familiar with the history of the environmental legislative barrage of the early 70s and the public outcry that led up to that. In that this is considered the seminal piece of legislation that led to the subsequent laws that produced the EPA, the Clean Water Act, etc., I'm impressed with the power entailed in this rather short law. Number 2, what distinguishes NEPA from other laws? Although I'm no legal scholar, the mere fact that this law demands that all agencies of the federal government are to follow the policies of the Act seems to be a quite sweeping move on the part of the Congress. It is also distinguished, although not alone, in creating a large new federal bureaucracy with significant power over these agencies. We may, I am certain, be discussing its effectiveness in the next few weeks, but it is quite obvious that the 1969 Congress meant business when it established this legislation. Number 3, did anything about the law surprise you? I guess I was most quite taken aback by the brevity of the law. It's rather short, and as an educator, I feel it's a good move to have us all read through the law in its entirety. But when I was reading this week's assignments, I was a bit overwhelmed that we had to read through the law in its entirety. It was a pleasant surprise that this Magna Carta of environmental legislation, in fact, turned out to be a relatively short tome. Was it what I expected, and can I explain? Quite honestly, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but although it did contain the variety of legal verbiage I thought it would, it was actually much more readable than I expected it to be. It wasn't overwhelming at all. In closing, I look forward to learning more about this very important piece of legislation and the part it will play in my future as both an educator and environmental specialist. And also, I look forward to getting to know you all a little bit better and maybe seeing some faces now in the forum, which I haven't seen faces before, but I've seen your names. So thank you and have a very good evening if it's night for you, and have a very good morning if it's morning for you.